Hi everyone, Kris from Stone Age Gamer here, and I got a good one for you today. I finally finished a collection that I've been trying to put together for the years and years and years. I've been trying to track down the last pieces of this collection, and like, you know how some video game collections are, like, you want to get all of the Virtual Boy games, sets of things, and some of them are just impossible to get that last piece of. Well, this one is easily one of the most significant, historically important game collections that I could have possibly imagined having in my possession. And the last piece of the puzzle finally came in, and it's mine, and I cannot wait to share it with all of you. I finally have all the Bubsy games! Let's take a look.
What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, everyone, well, you got me. It was an April Fool's Day joke. This is not the most important collection in the history of video games, but you know what? I still love it with all of my heart. Well, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. It is still Bubsy games, but I would argue that I'm not going to try to convince you that these games are good. I'm just not, because it's not true. They're intrinsically broken titles, but I will say that there is a certain degree of quality to this specific one right here. This is the first Bubsy game. Bubsy and Claws Encounters of the Third Kind for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a ridiculous title, and you can tell that while, yes, it was all this marketing thing to capitalize on Sonic the Hedgehog and mascot characters in general, there was a degree of love put into making this game. So let's have a quick look at what we got going on here. Here is the Bubster in his first appearance on Super Nintendo. This is my copy from when I was a kid, and no way can I cram all my cool features on the back of this wimpy box. I mean, look at this guy. He's all puffed up. He's got big old eyeballs. I mean, it looks like a cartoon. I first saw this game on my cousins were talking about it because they had seen something about the game, like maybe they saw a commercial for it, and then I was walking through the mall with my parents, and I saw a poster at Electronics Boutique, and it's like, oh, it says Bubsy, I gotta get this, it looks cool. It's like having Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's way cooler. And I am, like I said, it is complete, because I am missing a few things. Like, apparently I'm missing the instruction manual to my Super NES Bubsy, but here's my cartridge. There it is, the Bubster. And you know what? It is very broken. The level design as the game goes on is not so great. It's got lots and lots of issues with collision detecting and one-hit kills, but I do think it is at least kind of fun. And as a Nintendo kid, it was cool having something that was like, oh, you guys got Sonic? Yeah, well, I got Bubsy, and that's just as good. But then shortly thereafter, Bubsy shows up on Sega Genesis. Now, this one I got in a collection with a bunch of stuff not that long ago, and this one is complete, and this has some super fancy fun stuff in it. So here is released not long after the Super Nintendo one. You watch my TV special Thanksgiving weekend. That went well. What could possibly go wrong? Look, we've got similar situations here. Back of the box, same. Yep, the same pictures of Bubsy in different places, except you've got this funky like board game box style situation that Accolade did on their titles. Now this one's got, look, it's fun. It's fun right in the box. Or does that say run? I don't know. I'm going to say it says fun. Anyway, so what do we have here? We have a postcard. Having a wonderful time. Wish you were here in Hollywood, because he's a big Hollywood star, right? And this is an actual, wow, look at that. Place real postage here. I'm shooting my first animated TV special. Boy, seems like it was only yesterday when I was just a cool bobcat. Now I've risen to become a totally cool celebrity. Ain't America great? Anyway, I'm writing to remind you to watch my upcoming Thanksgiving weekend TV special. You could win valuable prizes. The marketing dudes and dudettes are calling it Watch and Win. Brilliant or what? Stay tuned for details. Well, I'm off to leave my paw imprint on the Walk of Fame. See ya in the movies. Hugs and air kisses. Bubsy. Wow. Yep, that's a thing. Here is the rather sizable instruction manual, complete with a Bubsy comic. Look at all that, explaining who the Woolies are and doing his best Bugs Bunny impression, and wowzers. I mean, look at the amount of effort that went into this. like I said before, with this first game in particular, specifically the Super Nintendo one, because I got some major problems with the Genesis one, but there was a degree of affection put into this. There was effort put into this game, and it is kind of unfortunate that it turned out as badly as it did, because it could have been pretty cool. Let's see, we got this, okay, and then we have the cart itself. Oh, there they are. I knew there was something else in here. All right, so here's the cart, the weird Accolade cartridge that they had to get around Sega's, what was that, copy protection and whatnot. And then they came with Accolade trading cards for Summer Challenge, Universal Soldier, Test Drive the Duel, Brett Hall Hockey, Warp Speed, Double Dragon, Hardball 3, Bubsy, Winter Challenge, and Jack Nicklaus Power Challenge Golf. Check that out. Don't just watch a cartoon, play one. Incredible animation, sound effects, and digitized speech create an exciting new gaming experience. Hint, Bubsy can dispose of his enemies much easier when he glides down on them. It's actually a really good hint. The gliding move is indispensable, indisposable, or whatever word you want to use in this game. So that's Bubsy in Paws Encounters the Third Kind, but it did make one more appearance a few years later. It was ported to PC in the form of Super Bubsy. Yes, this is the PC game Super Bubsy. I have the Windows 95 version. Yup, it did come in a big box, which I do not have because, like I said, my collection is complete. But anyway, this is actually kind of a different flavored version of the game. I'm sorry there's no screenshots on the back of this, but the graphics are pretty much the same, but the sound is all different, and it runs really weird. I've looked up a couple of YouTube videos of it because I got this one pretty recently, and it doesn't run on my computer at all. But this game sounds super weird. Like, the music is... It's the same songs, but they've been completely redone for this game. But it is a slightly enhanced version of the first Bubsy, and they called it Super Bubsy. There it is. Ta-da! Super Bubsy. And I bet it is as super can be. Now, there is another release of the original Bubsy, the Bubsy II, but that's a Steam thing, and it is, well, it's not tangible, so I can't show it to you. So then we had the inevitable sequel, Bubsy 2. Because yes, the original Bubsy game did well enough to warrant a sequel, but the original creator of Bubsy was not involved in the project. So we got Bubsy 2, which is fun because in the original run of Bubsy games, each release was worse than the last. So here is my Bubsy 2 for Super Nintendo. It had Nerf guns in it. Here's my stained instruction manual, and yet another comic involved, where there's definitely some effort put in here, but man, this game just feels cheap. Because of all the things that you can say about the original Bubsy, it definitely felt like a product that somebody put effort into making work. This game just feels, even though it's technically better, like it solved some problems, like you can take more than one hit, it feels cheap. It feels like it's a bootleg, just mashed together game, which apparently it was. Apparently the people who worked on this game really did not like Bubsy, and really, how could you not like... One, how could you not like Bubsy? And two, making a Bubsy sequel with people who don't like Bubsy, what could possibly go wrong? So, that game was also ported to the Sega Genesis, but by this point, Accolade was allowed to make officially licensed Sega Genesis games, so this one came in a snazzy red striped Genesis box. Here's my copy. Again, missing the instructions because it is complete, but not complete, as it were, but here you go. My slightly beat up copy of Bubsy 2 for Genesis. Nothing to see here. Not really all that interesting. He's got a Nerf gun. He travels to different dimensions. I don't know. This game's weird, but it introduced little Bubsy kids that were in the cartoon as well. So, yeah, okay. Moving on. You thought that was interesting. Bubsy went portable. Yes, Bubsy 2 was ported to the Game Boy. And, yikes. As bad as Bubsy 2 is, and it's pretty bad, the Game Boy version is brutal. there's not much in the way of fun to be had here, but it is fascinating. Now, this is a reproduction box because, well, if you want to do a little research, look up how much a boxed copy of Bubsy II for Game Boy goes for, and you will understand why I am never going to pay those prices for that. So I got myself a repro box, but I do have the genuine article of the cartridge. Picked this up at a convention, and there it is. Bubsy II for Game Boy. It's Super Game Boy enhanced, too! What could possibly go wrong? This game's awful. It's just not good, and I hate to say it, I like to try to see the good in things, but this is a really hard game to play. And I do not recommend it, unless you are a lunatic who collects Bubsy games, like me. So, before we had we moved on to greener pastures, Bubsy invaded the Atari Jaguar. Yes, this is a Bubsy in Fractured Furry Tales for the Atari 64-bit Jaguar Interactive Multimedia Cartridge System, and this was worse than Bubsy 2. It has a lot more in common with Bubsy 1. In fact, it plays almost exactly like it in terms of, like, you know, still one-hit kills, and the levels are gigantic and meandering. This one has going through all these different fairy tale environments, which is an idea. So, Bubsy to the rescue. Only Bubsy can protect the world's kids from these silly stories and tangled up tales. And it's repeated in a couple different languages, and wowzers, this is really something. The music in this game is really weird too, because the music in Bubsy 1, the music in the first Bubsy is, I think, really good. The music in the second Bubsy was still like super goosey. And, not goosey, I'm reading the word goose. It's goofy. Ah! Super goofy. But this one, the music really isn't all that goofy. It's not bad. It's like, I don't know. This is one of those games you really got to see to believe. But insert your Jaguar Bubsy and Fractured Furry Tales cartridge into the cartridge slot of your Jaguar 64-bit interactive multimedia system. Thanks for clarifying. Look at the size of this instruction manual. I mean, it's repeated in several different languages, but this is, yeah, there's Bubsy. Looks like somebody chewed on this one. That's weird. I also have a loose copy of this somewhere, and I think it's in better shape, and I should probably put that in this box, but there you have it. That is a complete in-box copy of Bubsy and Fractured Furry Tales for the Atari Jaguar, because that's where you want to play with bobcats, on your Jaguar. Moving on! This one's a bit of a legend. This is the last Bubsy game we got for a very long time. This is Bubsy 3D, and the story of this game is heartbreaking. Accolade had the guy who made the original Bubsy, who invented the character, come back to make a revolutionary 3D platforming Bubsy game. And he's working on the game, plugging away, and he feels like it's coming together, and he's going to show it off at E3, and then Nintendo shows Super Mario 64, and he's like, oh no. Because Super Mario 64, this ain't. It is certainly fun. Stunning original. Bubsy 3D climbs back to the top. Check it out. EGM. They didn't regret that at all. Gold Exawar, one of the sleeper hits of '96. An experience that no action platform gamer should miss, from PS Extreme. I believe that quote was given based on the original demo for this game, not the actual game, because the final game, not really very good. Again, it's ambitious. You play this game and you move around in 3D, and this was, coming from scratch. It was an early attempt at a proper 3D game, and it's not the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I know people complain about the graphics, but it does have a very clean, angular look to it, which, there's a certain charm to it. It's just not fun, which is the biggest problem with it. This is, I think, Forbidden Planet was the subtitle to this one, because really, how could you have a Bubsy game without some sort of pun subtitle? Yeah, man. This is another one that I don't necessarily recommend other than out of pure curiosity, because really, just as a study of 3D gaming, this game is fascinating, because it's a really interesting early example of somebody trying to do that, and the people who made this game moved on to make Siphon Filter, and that's something. So then we had a big break from Bubsy for a long, long time. And then out of nowhere, a few years ago, boom! The Woolies strike back for PlayStation 4. Yes, Accolade is back and better than ever, and they want to make Bubsy a thing again. So they released Bubsy The Wooly Strike Back. I bought the perfect edition because I am a crazy person. And oh look, this one comes with cool stuff too. We've got a business card. Let's get a good look at that. Bubsy T Bobcat, video game mascot, movie star, model, stunt cat, real estate CPA. Okay. And there's the back of the business card. Then we have this, an autographed little postcard thing. You can't have too many postcards. Wow, really calling back. I'm rushing between costume changes on the set of my latest picture, Indiana Bobcat. And there's hugs and air kisses again. You can't say that they weren't paying attention to their history when they made this game. Now, this perfect edition came with the original soundtrack CD, and if I remember correctly, this soundtrack was done by Kris, who you may know from the legendary Turrican soundtracks. And I wish I could say that I liked the music better, but it all just kind of came off as... it's not bad. It's certainly not bad. It's just not nearly as interesting as I would have hoped it would be, because when I heard that they were making a new Bubsy game and it was being developed by the team behind the Gianna Sisters games, which are perfectly passable platformers, and Kris, who has written some extraordinary game music for the likes of Turrican, I was actually kind of excited to get my hands on it, but unfortunately the game wound up being average in pretty much every way. Its mediocrity astounded me. The prodigal Bobcat returns, and I was really kind of bummed by this one because I want Bubsy to succeed, darn it. I don't know why, I just kind of do. And I felt like a revival of this wasn't actually a terrible idea if they could pull it off, but unfortunately I don't think that they did. But they didn't give up, because not long after we got, ta-da, Bubsy Paws on Fire. This here, of course, the limited edition, because how could I say no? I couldn't stand for the standard edition, right? I gotta have the limited edition of Bubsy Paws on Fire, and this one, this one's actually not a bad game. This comes from Choice Provisions, who made the Runner games and all the Bit Trip games, and this plays like an auto runner. This plays like a unique runner game. So Bubsy's always running and you react to different things, and boy, they put so much effort into the personality of this game. It's got callbacks to the original cartoon, the original game, lots of voice acting, and the game itself, I mean, we're talking about a runner game, basically. If you like the Bit Trip Runner, you probably won't hate this game, because it plays like it plays exactly like a lost sequel to one of those that just happens to be Bubsy themed. And it's not quite as good as the Runner games, and that's kind of a bummer. And also the music was done by, I don't remember the guy's name, I feel so bad, but he was not Matthew Harwood, who did the main Runner music, but somebody else who's done a bunch of the Bit Trip music work. Here's the soundtrack sampler that came with the perfect edition, and it doesn't say the guy's name on it, and I'll put some sort of banner or something that says who did the music on this game, because I feel bad for forgetting his name. But this is not a bad game. It's not a great game, and it wasn't enough to get Bubsy back on the map, because at the end of the day, if you're going to release a new Runner game that's not a Runner game, that's not as good as a Runner game, you're probably not going to get anywhere impressive. But it's a thing, and it happened, and it was also released physically on Nintendo Switch, and this was the last piece of the puzzle. Here is my limited edition Paws on Fire that I have been waiting for to go on sale forever, and it just never did. So I started to see it going up in value, which hurt my soul, and I finally pulled the trigger and bought the game, and here it is. Auto running action on Nintendo Switch, and this is the limited edition. I don't know what comes in it. I haven't opened it, so let's find out. Let me crack this guy open right here. Let's see, what can I use to open this? I'm gonna use Bubsy to open Bubsy. Ready for this? Here we go. I'm gonna use the disc to crack that seal. There we go. You're welcome. Thanks, Bubsy. All right, let's see what's in this thing, huh? What is in this limited edition Bubsy Paws on Fire? What makes this limited? Oh my goodness, it does have a soundtrack. Look at this cute little thing. It's got a little mini disc. What? Wow, original soundtrack sampler. Wait a second here. Oh yeah, they're both soundtrack samplers. Huh, learn something new every day. Wow, it's a little mini CD. That is precious. And here we have an instruction manual, not something you see in Nintendo Switch games all that often. But yeah, here it is. And it's not ugly. It's cute. I like it. More Bubsy is on the way. This was 2019, and they're promising more Bubsy is on the way. I can't wait to see that. And here's the little cartridge. I'm not going to taste it. I'm sure it tastes just as bad as any other Nintendo Switch game. There you have it. That's all of them. That's the Bubsies. Look at him. He's wearing a tuxedo on this one. That is something that I own. And there you have it. That is my complete US Bubsy collection. Yes, this was an April Fool's Day episode, and yes, this is a completely absurd video, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of the fact that I have all these Bubsy games, because they were actually a little difficult to track down, especially that Super Bubsy. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you enjoy Bubsy? Do you enjoy hating Bubsy? Do you unironically think the first game's not that bad? What are your favorite Bubsy memories? Let us know down in the comments if you've got any Bubsy memories, or if you just want to tell me that I'm crazy for collecting all these Bubsy games. Whatever works for you, happy April Fool's Day. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and on behalf of all of us here at Stone Age Gamer, keep playing games. Nope, absolutely nothing wrong with this.